second.
How we doing today?
Very good.
Good. So, we had a really interesting speaker last night, Larry Fitzgerald, and he made a point that I'd never really ever thought of. And one of the players asked him is, how did you stay motivated when you had so much success for so long? And he said, I love the process. I love watching film. I love to practice. I caught extra balls before practice. I ran routes with the quarterback after practice. I love the process. And then when the game came, it was really, really easy. So, that's kind of interesting because some of our best players, some of our really good players that we've had here traditionally in the past, that's exactly how they work. And that's exactly how a lot of the guys on our team right now that are really good players, that's how they are. But we need to have everybody be that way. We don't need anybody trying to get out of drills or practicing or whatever. And if they love the process of what it takes, not to win a game, but to do the things you need to do to be able to win a game. Right? Not to do the things, not just think about being a starter, but what do you do to be a starter? What does a starter act like? How does a starter practice? How does a starter go about being responsible to do his job? And I think that was a really good message, and I think it's a message that, and Larry made a point of this, that it's the same thing in your life. Being a good parent, being a good husband, doing a good job in whatever it is you do. So it was kind of interesting, but I get asked a lot. I never ever thought of this. How do you stay motivated? And I never really could answer it, but I love the process. I love practicing. I like getting ready for practice. I like coaching the players on the field, trying to get them to play as good as they can be so we have the best chance, they have the best chance to be successful, we have the best chance to be successful. So hopefully we can get a whole team full of guys getting ready to do that. So, the only injury we have is, JoJo got a Jones fracture in his foot in practice a couple days ago. So those things are probably 6 to 8 weeks. So we just have to see how it goes. But hopefully, maybe by October 1st or something like that, he'll be close to being ready to come back. But he was doing a really, really good job, having a really good camp. Probably the best he's been on a consistent basis. You just saw a guy that grew up and was playing with a lot of confidence. So we'll miss him for a while, but we want him to get well, and I'm sure he'll contribute to the team at some point in time this year.
We'll start over here with Aaron.
Across college football, we have seen these new sort of tight ends that flex out and have wide receiver skills. You guys have had that in the past, and you may have it in the future with Amari Niblack. What do you think is giving rise to that sort of tight end?
Well, I actually say a tight end is, back when I was coaching at the Houston Oilers, a tight end in the National Football League was a guy that put his hand in the dirt beside the tackle. If you talk to Ozzie Newsome, who's a great friend and an Alabama guy and a really good player here and for a long time in the NFL, that's what he did. But now a tight end is really three things. A tight end does that sometimes. A tight end flexes out and plays like a wide receiver sometimes. A tight end is in the off-the-ball position, and he does a lot of things an old-fashioned fullback used to do. So it's kind of difficult to find someone who has the skill set to do all three of those things well. We've had some really good tight ends around here. I'm encouraged by the guys that we've been able to recruit, the young guys that we brought in this year, but they have to focus on their development and develop a little better understanding of the offense, but I think they have really good ability.
We'll go to Michael on the other side.
Looking at the receivers, the returning receivers, not the transfers, how have you seen them progress since the end of last season?
I already talked about JoJo. So Corey Brooks is doing really well, very competitive, smart, plays with a lot of toughness, very physical, doing a good job. He's got really good hands. And all the other guys, they're making progress. They're better. They're getting better. I think they're, doing a pretty good job. But I think there's a lot of competition at that position between new guys, transfer guys, freshmen, old guys coming in. So, be interesting to see how they do when, we scrimmage on Saturday. I'm kind of different than everybody else. A lot of these coaches we got, they want to get in the huddle and tell everybody what to do. Well, unless you can get in the huddle in the game and tell them what to do, we got a problem. So sometimes you got to let the players play. So when we go to a scrimmage, we'll see what they know, we'll see how they do, how much confidence they play with, and that'll go a long ways for us to make an evaluation of, is this guy, where is he in his development relative to being ready to play winning football for us?
Up front, Nick.
Henry said he's never covered a back as fast as Jahmyr Gibbs. The challenge of defending Gibbs, how have you seen the defense be helped by defending him in practice?
I think everybody is helped by the quality of players that we have on offense and defense. Patrick Surtain would probably tell you, I covered Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, Smitty, Jalen Waddle, every day in practice for 3 years. How many guys did I play against in a game that was any better than those guys, based on where they got drafted and all that, and how much production they had? So I think, iron sort of sharpens iron at every position. Cam Robinson won the Outland Trophy playing left tackle around here, and the guy playing right end, he won in Gursky, Jonathan Allen. They practice against each other every day for 3 years. So it helps everybody get better when you have good players. Jahmyr Gibbs plays at a different speed. He breaks contain on the defense because that's good for the defense. So when we play against a good back that has great speed, maybe we can keep leverage on him better. So it not only helps Henry, it probably helps everybody on the defensive team. And I think it helps at every position that players get challenged in practice and they have to do things correctly and create good habits so they have the best chance to be successful when the game comes.
This side, Charlie.
Just want to ask you about J.C. Latham and the progress you maybe seen him make from this time last year to now.
Well, he's made a lot of progress. He's a lot more confident. He's very physical. I think he's got a better understanding of, what he's supposed to do, why it's important to do it that way, how he's supposed to do it, and he's playing extremely well. I'm pleased with both tackles, so far in camp.
Step front, Chase.
How's kicking and punting look so far?
Well, we had to punt inside, so if we could evaluate how that looks going up in the net, I couldn't tell you, but it's been good when we've been outside. Just unfortunately, like we were outside today, but we got chased in by the storm, and we got chased in right when kicking period was coming. So we ended up kicking in the net, and I really can't. It's hard to evaluate, but in all the specialty periods and individual periods, the kicking has been good, and the kickers have been really, I think, improved. And Will has been very consistent as usual.
Far side with Stephen.
From where he started to now, what's been the biggest strides Chris Braswell has taken?
Braz is a good player. He's a good rusher. He's got great first step quickness. He can turn speed to power. He's got a much better understanding of what he's supposed to do on defense, playing outside backer. It takes guys a little bit of time who have their hand in the dirt all the time when they're in high school. Then we try to teach them how to play standing up, which is a good fit for a lot of guys. Because they're not really big enough to be defensive ends, especially at the next level. So if they can play outside backer and then they can rush on third down, that creates tremendous value when they learn how to play standing up. And he has learned that, and he's improved at, the pass coverage part of it, but he's a really good rusher. He's got great first step quickness. And look, you can be quick and fast, but if you can't turn speed to power, you're never going to be an effective rusher. So, and he can do that really well. So I think we have 3 guys there right now that are really good players at outside backer.
Right here with Tony.
Kind of going back to special teams, who are some of the players that are standing out at both kick returner and punt returner, and how do you feel about both of those units?
Well, Jahmyr has done a really good job as a kickoff returner. I think we're trying to develop depth behind him. JoJo did some punt returner last year. He made significant amount of improvement in judgment fielding the balls and all those types of things, so we were encouraged by that. Kool-Aid's been back there, Jermaine Burton has been back there. So we just have to, see the number one important thing on punt return is possession of the ball. So we'd like to get a first down and average over 10 yards of punt return. That's great for field position, but possession of the ball has to be the most important thing. So the guy that's going to be the most consistent fielder is going to be the guy that has the opportunity to do it until JoJo gets back.
Here we got two more. The first one will come from Zoom. Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, hi Coach. General question about the program here with a new season starting. So with Dan Lanning hired at Oregon, there are 6 of your assistants from the same 2015 staff who are head coaches: Kiffin, Cristobal, Tucker, Napier, just to name a few. What does that mean to you and the program? Is that something that you ever sit back and sort of think about?
I'm happy for all those guys. They did a fantastic job when they were here. That's why we had a successful team. They did a great job with their relationship to the players, teaching the players, preparing the players to play the game so that we could be successful. And it's no surprise to me that any of them, because of their leadership qualities, they're all very bright guys, that they had a lot of success. And they did a good job here for us because that's what they aspired to be. So I'm happy to see them have the opportunities to do it, and in many cases doing a really, really good job of it. So I'm happy for them. It's not about me. I'm happy for them. And we have some very good coaches on our staff now, and hopefully they'll get some opportunities. If we can continue to have success, I think that enhances that.
Finishing up with Carrie.
Coach, when you look at Will Anderson Jr. and of course Bryce Young, 2 different personalities there, one fiery, one a little bit, cool as a cucumber. I want to know, how does that dynamic help having those 2 personalities as leaders? And does that dynamic compare to any other leadership you've had in teams in the past?
Well, I don't like to compare players, but one thing that the 2 of those guys have in common, they're both great competitors. They might have a different personality, but when you get on the field and start playing, they're great competitors. They prepare well, they understand what they're supposed to do, they understand what everybody else is supposed to do. They're trying to help other players on their side of the ball, play better, especially with, effort and toughness and knowing what to do and how to execute it. So they both do that well. They have a different personality, and they both have great personalities. But when it comes to being competitive, they're a lot alike.
All right, Coach, that's all we got. Thank you.
Is that it? So I'm supposed to smile and say thank you.